Shall we pray as we take the third stanza of the national anthem together? O God of all creation, grant us our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed, and so with peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed. Ondo State may be blessed. Amen. Shall we be seated? Thank you very much. Tony and Lara, please keep it low for the word of our time. Good morning, Your Excellencies, our respected KBSAs, our distinguished elder statesmen, distinguished guests, students, and fellow Nigerians. Today is June 12, Democracy Day, a day etched in our history. Because of this day, Nigerians spoke with one voice, a voice that said, our vote must count, our future must be ours. Though the journey since 1993 has had its bumps, the spirit of June 12 lives on in every town hall, in every ballot, in every debate like this one. My name is Olamikbosi Odofin, and it is my honor to serve as your master of ceremony for this public lecture. Theme, June 12 and beyond, reflecting on the progress of democracy and security concerns. Today we won't just mark history, we will interrogate, we will learn from it, and chart the way forward. So settle in, open your mics, and let's engage. Democracy can only work when we do. On behalf of the chief host, His Excellency, Dr. Lucky Orimisan Ayedatiwa, FCA, the Governor of Ondo State, I welcome everyone. Thank you, Your Excellency. God bless you, sir. That man whose leadership carries the triple grace, the captain of our ease, Mr. Infrastructure, the ambassador of the rule of law. I salute you, sir. On the top table, let me recognize His Excellency, the Deputy. Sir. You are welcome, sir. We have the Speaker, Ondo State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Olamide Oladiji. Mr. Speaker, I recognize you, sir. You are welcome. Tony and Lara, please bring it down for the words of our time. We want to work with the light, please. Let me recognize my Lord Honorable Justice Olusegun Ayedun, the Chief Judge of Ondo State. My Lord, I recognize you, sir. You are welcome, sir. I would like to recognize our guest speaker for today, a distinguished Nigerian statesman, labor leader, public servant, whose career has spanned decades of advocacy, reform, and impactful governance. Former President of the Nigerian Labour Congress, from 1999 to 27, Governor of Edo State, 2008 to 2016, APC National Chairman, 2018 to 2020, and currently Senator representing the Edo North Senatorial District since 2023 in the 10th National Assembly. Distinguished Senator Comrade Adamu Aliyu Oshiomole, MNI CON. I recognize and welcome you to the Sunshine State, sir. You are welcome, sir. Koyo, sir. I would also like to recognize the chairman of the largest party, APC Ondo State Chapter, Honorable Kolawole Babatunde. I recognize you, sir. You are welcome. The chairman of today's occasion, our father, Nigerian banker, administrator, politician, and elder statesman, His Royal Majesty, Oba Samuel Oluyemi Falai, CFR, GCON, the Oluabo of Iluabo, the Baba Oba of Akure Kingdom, former SGF, former Minister of Finance. Baba, I recognize you, sir. You are welcome, sir. Let me recognize the top table, our amiable Chief of Staff, Prince Shegun Omojua. I recognize you, sir. I would also like to recognize the head of bureaucracy in Ondo State, Chief Shegun Odusoya. I recognize you, sir. Welcome. Let me recognize our royal father, the chairman Ondo State Council of Traditional Rulers, His Imperial Majesty, Ajibade Gbadegeshi Ogunwoye III, the Olowo of Owo. Kabiesi, I recognize you, sir. Let me recognize the members of the Ondo State House of Assembly here present. Use the Deputy Speaker, Ondo State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Ololade Gbegudu. Sir, let me use this as a point of respect to all other members of the Ondo State House of Assembly here with us. The members of the Ondo State Executive Council, let me use Dr. Shewo Samaye and Mr. Laolu Akindolire, the Honorable Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Development, and the Honorable Commissioner for Economic and Budget, as a point of respect to all the members of the Ondo State Executive Council here present. I would like to recognize chairmen of statutory boards, agencies, and commission here with us. I recognize you all. Let me use Mama Dr. Daisy Oke as a point of respect to all of you. Chairman of Local Government Council, I'll use the Algon Chairman, Honorable Fashua. Let me use this as a point of respect. Chairman of LCDA, Honorable Kekereowo, I'll use it as a point of respect to everyone. All our royal fathers here present, recognized Oba Felix Adetoye Adeoye as a point of respect to all royal fathers here with us. All our religious leaders, I'll use the chairman of CAN as a point of respect to all religious leaders here with us. All our labor leaders, let me use the chairman of NLC, Ondo State, Comrade Ademola Adenijo-Olapade, as a point of respect to everyone that has been introduced earlier. Heads of security agencies, I recognize you. Permanent secretaries, directors, I recognize everyone.
Hello.
All political parties, society organizations, all our Iyalaje and Iyaloja, most especially that of APC. Ẹ ṣeun ẹ̀yin ìyá wa, ẹ káàbọ̀ síbi ìdánilẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ìjọba tiwantiwa tí a fi sàmì sí ọjọ́ June 12. Ẹ ṣé lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀, ẹ kú àtìlẹ́yìn ìjọba. All our students, great Nigeria students, of the greatest Nigeria students. Greet you all, you are welcome. All our Hausa communities, are we in the house? All Hausawas, I greet you all, Sanude Zua. All Igbos, are we in the house? All Ebiras, are we here? All the Edos in Ondo State, please rise up for recognition under the leadership of Chief Okosu.
Year 2026 marks the 27th year of uninterrupted democracy in Nigeria. And so we are at the venue of today's seminar, which is put together by this government of Ondo State in commemoration of the June 12th celebration. Today's June 12th Democracy Day celebration is tagged reflecting on the progress of democracy and security concerns happening at the International Culture and Event Center, the Dome, Egbatoro Road, Akure. The guest speaker for today is His Excellency Senator Adams Oshomole, CON, and of course the chairman of the day is His Royal Majesty Oba Oluyemisi Falai, the Olu Abo of Ilu Abo. Definitely the chief host. The chief host is Excellency Dr. Lucky Orimison Ayedatiwa, CFR, the governor of Ondo State. Well, today is celebrated to commemorate the return to democratic rule, which has existed in Nigeria uninterruptedly for 27 years now. And looking retrospectively at the day, it's not something that is not unimportant. It's very important to reflect on the journey so far, and also to critically examine the security concerns that has been experienced in the nation as of today. So why not stick around and listen to the history of the return to democracy, listen to the story of June 12th, listen to what the leaders of today have to say concerning how to channel the security architecture to solve this insecurity we currently experience in the nation. My name is Folashade Ogidon, and I'm not here alone today. I've got my co-presenter who will be speaking to you in Yoruba language. Obadayo, it's nice to have you on.
Ẹ jẹ́ máa kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ondo tí ẹ láǹfààní láti máa wò wá lónìí. Gbàgede dóòmù ti àṣà àti ayẹyẹ ní ìlú Àkúrẹ́ ní pópónà Ìgbàtòrò náà ni a wà lónìí níbi tí gbogbo àwọn ọmọ ìpínlẹ̀ Ondo lọ́kan-ò-jọ̀kan tí a ti ń ṣe àyájọ́ ayẹyẹ èyí tí ń ṣe ti ìjọba àwarawa léyìí tí ó ń wáyé ní gbàgede dóòmù lónìí. Ní gbàgede yìí àwọn lọ́balọ́ba, àwọn lẹ́ẹ̀kan ìlú, àwọn lóyèlóyè iná ni wọ́n wà o. Gómìnà ìpínlẹ̀ Ondo ọlọ́lá Lucky Orímisàn Ayédàtiwa òun náà ń bẹ ní ìjókòó pẹ̀lú igbákejì rẹ̀ tí wọ́n wà ní gbàgede yìí lónìí. Bákan náà àwọn lọ́balọ́ba náà ni wọ́n wà ní ìkàlẹ̀ tó bí ètò ti máa lọ ní ti ṣe gbọ̀ngàn yìí lónìí iná là á máa fi tó yín létí bí ó ti ń lọ. Iléeṣẹ́ tẹlifíṣàn tó gbàràwọ̀ Osrc òun náà ni a ti ń kí yín lónìí wípé ẹ wá nǹkan fìdílé o kẹ́ lè gbádùn ẹ̀yẹ tòní.
Senator Comrade Adams Oshomole, we welcome you and we appreciate your coming to Ondo State today. Let me also welcome the chairman of Ondo State Council of Obas, who is here with us, our father, the Olowo Fowo, Oba Dr. Ogunlade, the Olowo Fowo. We welcome you to this event. Oba Jibade Gbadigeshin Ogoye the Third, we welcome you. And I use you as a point, because of our time, I use you as a point of contact with utmost respect to all the royal fathers in the house. Let me also welcome my colleagues in the cabinet of Ondo State, the honorable commissioners and special advisors. Permit me to use my brother, Honorable Wale Akinlosotu, the honorable commissioner for regional planning and diaspora matters, to welcome all of you. Permit me also to welcome all the honorable members of the House of Assembly, using the Deputy Speaker, Honorable Ololade Bigudu, I welcome you with utmost respect. I also like to welcome all our religious leaders that are here in the house. Permit me to use Reverend Father Anselm as the chairman of CAN, who is in our midst. I use you as a point of respect to all the religious leaders in the house. I also like to welcome the heads of security agencies that are here in our midst. I welcome all the permanent secretaries that are here. I welcome all the leaders of the party. I receive with utmost respect the chieftains of Nadeko that are in the house. We respect you for your sacrifice and welcome you to this important occasion. Mr. Governor, I consider it a profound honor to stand before this gathering, this August gathering, and to welcome all of you to this year's June 12th Democracy Day public lecture. This is our celebration in Ondo State, and I do this on behalf of my principal, the government, and the entire people of Ondo State. Today, we gather not just to remember, but to reflect on the annulled June 12, 1993 election. Your presence here is more than attendance. It is a testament that 32 years after that historic vote of 1993, we still believe in the power of the people's voice. And 32 years after Nigerians spoke with one voice, that voice still echoes in our hearts. As said by the MC, June 12 is not just a date on our calendar. It is the day Nigeria chose hope over fear. The day Nigerians across tribe and tongue, Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo, and all spoke with one voice and said, this is the Nigeria we want. Though the mandate was stolen in the night, the idea refused to die. The idea could not be killed. That idea gave birth to democracy, the democracy we enjoy today. Like a seed in hard soil, it waited and dreamed until democracy broke through the concrete of dictatorship. This year's theme, June 12 and beyond, reflecting on the progress of democracy and security concerns, is a product of intentionality and deliberate reflection championed by Mr. Governor, His Excellency, Dr. Lucky Orimisoayedatua. As a visionary leader and beneficiary of the rule of law and lover of democracy, His Excellency takes serious the provision of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, as stated in section 14, subsection 2B. The primary purpose of government is the security and welfare of the people. As we celebrate the progress of civil rule today, we must also confront the threats that test it: insecurity, disunity, and dwindling trust in institutions. At this gathering, we have a collective mission championed by Mr. Governor to look at all of the issues relating to June 12. This is why we are profoundly honored and blessed to have two accomplished giants of that struggle with us today. These two heroes of the June 12 struggle, men who stood when standing was everything, when it cost everything. One, we have the chairman of this occasion, His Royal Majesty Obaolu Falai, CFR, a revered monarch, an elder statesman, a patriot, and a man who paid a personal price for democracy. Baba, your life is a lesson in courage and patriotism. You paid the price so we could speak here today. Your crown carries the weight of sacrifice. Sacrifices that remind us that democracy is not free, it's not cheap. We are humbled by your presence and wisdom, Kabiyesi. And again, we are fortunate to have another icon of our democracy in our midst as guest speaker of today, distinguished Senator Adams Oshiomhole, CON, two-time governor of Edo State, comrade to millions, people's senator, and a voice that has never been silent when democracy is threatened. He is one voice that speaks truth to power, Sir, we look forward to your wisdom as we reflect on how far we have come and how we secure the future we fought for in this country. Sir, we are excited to have you here to teach us how to guard what our fathers bled for. I thought we were going to give a round of applause. To all our guests, traditional rulers, youth groups, civil society organizations, and citizens here today, this lecture belongs to you. June 12 belongs to you. June 12 is a covenant in our blood. Let us use this gathering to renew our vow that never again shall we allow personal ambition to override the will of the people. Once again, I welcome you all. Let us learn at this event. Let us engage. Let us live here more determined to build the Nigeria of MKO Abiola's dream. Thank you. God bless Ondo State. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You are welcome.
Thank you very much, sir. God bless you as well. We have with us Honorable Femi Adekombi, the MD, Bini Owena River Basin Authority. I recognize you, sir, and we thank you so much for joining us. Dr. Jide Adenwile, Southwest Development Commission. We recognize you, sir, Commissioner, Executive Director, Project Southwest Development Commission, Mr. Olusegun Olufente FCA. We recognize you, sirs, for joining us. Let me also recognize the chairman, NURTW, Ondo State, Comrade Ademola Dudu, Up National, Tire Roll, you shop alone. Thank you very much. I will also like to recognize in our midst all my people from the Southern Senatorial District of Ondo State, the Kales, the Lajes, and most especially the Jos. Thank you everyone for leaving the water to come to the land to celebrate the Democracy Day with us. God bless you all. Your Excellencies, all other parts of the protocols are respectfully observed. At this point, may I invite the chairman of today's occasion, a Nigerian banker, administrator, politician, elder statesman, His Royal Majesty, Oba Samuel Oluyemi Falai, CFR, GCON, for the opening remarks. And while Baba is making his way to the podium, we also have other Nadeko Babas and Mamas seated in the house. They are very, very shifting. Let me use Chief Femi Aluko, Chief Korededu Ile, and Mama Grace Animola as a point of respect to all the elders. Agba onitan lori le o, ake eyin baba ati eyin mama pe a kú ayẹyẹ ẹni. Please let's put our hands together for our father, Kábíyèsí o.
Your Excellency, the Governor of Ondo State, Dr. Lucky Orimisan Ayedatiwa, the Deputy Governor of Ondo State, the guest speaker, my very good friend for many years, Senator Adam Oshiomhole, and former governor of Edo State. By the way, when I was secretary to the government, and Adam was leading the labor movement, we had many clashes. Several times they declared industrial dispute. And Babangida would say, oh, look, go and talk to your friends. So Adam and I, SOZ and the others, we interacted very many times and were able to reach acceptable conclusion in the interest of our nation. Adam, I thank you. Kábíyèsí, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank the governor of Ondo State for commemorating June 12 every year. June 12 has been a watershed in our political development. Because on that day, Nigerians in their millions trooped out to vote overwhelmingly for MK Abiola to become president. The day was very fine. No clash, no problem anywhere. But unfortunately, the military government, which I used to serve, annulled the result of the election. And some of us felt affronted. How could a bunch of military officers nullify the collective decision of all Nigerians? And for the first time in our history, a civilian group dared to confront a military government. We knew we were putting our freedom and our lives on the line. We met in General Adebayo's residence in Ikeja, Lagos, and after 2 days of deliberation, late Admiral Ndubuisi Kanu, Mr. Ayo Padokun, and I were asked to withdraw from the meeting and come and deliberate on what name by which we are going to call ourselves. We went out, and after a few hours, a few minutes, we came back and said we are going to be National Democratic Coalition, NADECO. I said this because when I was in detention, twice the government sent emissaries to me to say Abacha was not happy that I was in detention. In his opinion, I served the nation well. I should not be in detention. But that I should renounce my membership of NADECO and will take him out of detention. And I said, please tell him, I was one of those who baptized this child, NADECO. I cannot abandon it. And I said, please tell him also that we're not fighting his person. We are fighting their decision. Unfortunately, he have the capacity to distinguish between his person and his actions. And he got very angry. He said I should be put in detention. I thank God that the struggle was not in vain. And the struggle was not carried out by NADECO alone. The labor movement, led by today's lecturer and others, in the labor movement, cooperated with NADECO. In fact, the cutting edge with which we fought the government. We shut down the shops and markets in Lagos through their assistance. Through Nupeng, we were able to shut down petrol stations. And that made NADECO very, very effective. So I want to acknowledge the contribution of the labor movement and the press, and the very, very patriotic and bold press for the support they gave to NADECO. I thank God, since the NADECO struggle, there has been no military intervention in Nigeria. I believe that will be the last, there will never be any military intervention again. Because for the first time, we confronted the military for 6 years. Of course, some of us were detained, some were exiled, some were killed. But despite that, we did not give up. And I want to say that the struggle succeeded. Succeeded in doing what? Succeeded in ensuring that an elected civilian became president and replaced the military. That was the purpose of the struggle, and the struggle from that point of view was successful. And I pray that those who are running our country today are elected, democratically elected civilian leaders, non-military. And I pray the military will never again rule this country. I'm saying so because I served with the military as Secretary of the Government and Minister of Finance. I'm also a civilian. I used to be a politician. I haven't run for president. I was chairman of a party, but I voluntarily retired in 2019. after I was over 80. Ladies and gentlemen, we should thank God for Abiola's courage. He refused to surrender his mandate. That was what sustained Nadeco. Because if he surrendered, we have no cause to fight for. So I want to say once again that I thank the governor for arranging this event. I want to thank my friend, Senator Adam Oshiomole, for coming to give us this lecture. He tells me he will be going back today. I said, why didn't you come yesterday? Give the lecture today and be here till tomorrow. He said that urgent business will be done. But my fear is that Adam cannot give a short lecture. He is going to talk for about 3 hours. But it's all left to him. When you come to questions and answers, I will take it brief. But it's up to him to give a short lecture. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm privileged to be here.
Thank you so much, Kabiyesi. Please, can we give Kabiyesi a standing ovation? Àwọn bàbá tí wọ́n mọ̀ tán nìyẹn. Thank you so much, Kabiyesi. Àgbà ò ní tán lórílẹ̀ o. Ẹ pẹ́ fún wa sà. Shall be seated. Thank you. Let me recognize all the members, all the youth in the house, the National Youth Council of Nigeria. Youth Council, build the youth. Build the youth. You are the leaders of tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining us. Your Excellencies, our respected royal fathers, all of the parts of the protocols are respectfully observed. We want to have documentary for just a few minutes. Technica, over to you, please. Documentary on June 12.
June 12, 1993, a date Nigerians chose but were denied. 33 years later, we vote, we speak, we protest. But has democracy delivered, and at what cost to our security? This is June 12 and beyond.
For this life, oh, na so palava. I tire for this problem, I tire for life, oh, Billy. No work, no food, no house, no life, no water, then they bring us so feed the program. This more money, I they get na social transport, the chop after studio, na headache, hospital, no work, I tire for life, oh. My brother, waiting you they think, oh, my sister. Help don't come, everything, MKO, TV, action, MKO, TV, everything, perfect. Abiola na the logo, everything na the practice to solve our problem and better our life, oh. MKO, 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 action. Abiola, 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 perfect. Now here we the logo for better tomorrow.
June 12, 1993 was more than an election. It was North and South, Muslim and Christian, voting as one. Chief MKO Abiola's mandate was clear, but the annulment that followed sparked a struggle.
It is true that the presidential election was generally seen to be free, fair, and peaceful. However, there was in fact a huge array of electoral practices virtually in all the states of the Federation before the actual voting began.
12. It was a fantastic day. The weather was the clement weather. The weather was fantastic. Everyone was quiet. And the election took place peacefully all over Nigeria. All over. There was not even a single place where there was violence.
It was free and fair, no violence. Nigerians voted, their votes counted, at least numerically, and everybody left home after the election.
Results were announced in all the states, and Abiola won the election in most of the states. And if you added the figures read out by INEC at the various state counting stations, Abiola won very comfortably. But INEC refused to announce the totals. Apparently, they had been instructed or directed by the federal military government not to announce the final result. Then tension arose and the crisis began. Of course, later we got to know that some powerful people in Nigeria had threatened the federal government that hell will break loose if Abiola was announced as president and installed as president.
I made the widest possible consultation and sought assurances that I would not be chasing shadows. These assurances were given in some cases from the highest level of government. I consulted the president himself, and he gave the assurance himself that this time around he was serious. I was therefore convinced that the commitment to civilian rule come August 27, 1993 was firm, settled, and irrevocable. I could not imagine that the purported transgressions of the judiciary could possibly today. The International Observer Group said so. NEC itself says so. They know it and they said it. In his affidavit to the Court of Appeal in Kaduna, NEC said the results were already unknown. I won.
Chief M.K. Abiola anchored this campaign on welfare to poverty. If that election had not been annulled by the military junta, the Ibrahim Babangida junta, Nigeria will have today joined the rest of the world, will have been a leader in the world.
That struggle birthed the democracy we have today. June 12 proved one truth: the will of the people is stronger than the force of those in power.
He issued a communique asking General Sani Abacha to install the winner of the June 12 election, Bashir M.K. Abiola, president, and hand over power to him within 30 days. That's the ultimatum we issued to the military junta. By the way, that was the first time in our history that a group of civilians would dare to issue an ultimatum to a sitting military head. He unleashed a series of attacks on us, verbally and physically. A number of our members, a number of them, some were killed, assassinated, some were driven into exile, like retired General Alana Kiniade, like Dr. Kimba, and some of us were arrested and detained, including myself. And I was there from the 9th of January 1997 to the 20th of August 1998.
One of the national figures, many of them were arrested, detained. Some escaped to outside the country.
Every election since 1999 stands on that sacrifice. From military regimes to civilian rule, 26 years of uninterrupted democracy, power shifting through the ballots, not bullets. That alone is progress.
We have not gotten there yet. For me, as an individual, as a reporter, as a journalist, I would say what we have now is a civilian government, not actually a full-blown democratic system. Because there are a lot of also accounts in the system. But the reality of it is this: whether we like it or not, within the last 7 years, we were able to at least elect our governors, our House of Representatives, our senators, and the president. The election may not be perfect, but the reality of it is that Nigerians have the opportunity of choosing their leaders.
So, what has democracy delivered? 3 things stand out. 1. Institutions. We now have institutions that work, a National Assembly that debates, courts that overturn flawed elections. INEC adopts technology using BVAS and IREF to make rigging harder, imperfect but better than 1999 where we took off. Democracy is a process. Our institutions are still learning, but they exist and are functional. That is June 12th's dividend.
Institution must play its part and play it effectively. Mr. Chairman and fellow Nigerians, the 2026 budget is guided by 4 clear objectives. 1. Consolidate macroeconomic stability, improve the businesses and business environment, investment environment, and all of that together. Promote job-rich growth and reduce poverty, and strengthen human capital development while protecting the vulnerable. In short, we will spend with purpose, manage debt with discipline, and pursue broad-based sustainable growth.
2. Participation. More Nigerians are asking questions. Youth are organizing. Women are contesting. From #EndSARS to town halls, citizens demand accountability.
The olden days, like in 70s or 60s, you will see a 27-year-old participating in politics to do something sincerely for Nigeria. But today, what you see youth doing is how it will embezzle money. Maybe to gather themselves somewhere to embezzle somebody and earn money. So today, I've not really seen how youth has actually assisted Nigeria or fully participated in Nigerian democracy since inception. We are now counting 27 years today. We have not really seen. It is these old people who have been governing us that are still there. I'm not saying we don't have chance. We have been given an opportunity. How far have we been able to harness that opportunity?
The silence from military rule is gone. June 12th gave us a voice.
June 12th, which represents a landmark revolution in our political history, provides ample opportunity for us as a people to properly acknowledge, accentuate, and appreciate the invaluable sacrifices of the heroes past, martyrs, and strident advocates of the democratic struggle that culminated in the current democratic gains. The significance of the date to the growth of our democratic socio-political values cannot be overemphasized, as it provides ample opportunity for us as a country to review the democratic journey, note the progress thus far, and protect the sanctity of the hard-earned democratic gains.
3. Freedom. Citizens can criticize, protest, and speak on social media without fear of midnight knocks. The press is freer. Expression is louder. That's a victory June 12 paid for.
All those that we are seeing that's going on in Nigeria now, especially on social media where a lot of fake news were coming in, where a lot of leaders were being abused, they were being assaulted. You can't try that under in the civilian room. Do you know how many journalists were killed? Do you know how many people there? Are you aware that in this country, people had their brothers, their brothers were shot dead in the street of Lagos? Are you aware that Pariwani was killed in the house of Pierre in Kenya? Are you aware that Ibrahim Adesanya, the leader of Afenifere, was shot at Asura Street in Lagos Mainland? Are you aware that Bagara attacked cattle in generally with the news over? As I'm talking to you, was probably found in the last 7 years. And many other things like that. But whether I like it or not, you could see the life of Shogure, you see the life of activists, calling the president of the country criminal. And they are still working their life. That is the lesson of them. That is the game of democracy that the democracy and brought in.
But democracy means little without safety. And here, the report card is mixed. Boko Haram in the northeast, banditry in the northwest, and creeping to the southwest, kidnapping on highways and sometimes on farmland, and not so far environs, farmer-herder conflicts in the middle belt. Insecurity seems to be casting a shadow over democracy. When people fear to vote, travel, or farm, democracy itself is threatened. Security is the foundation of democracy. You cannot debate policy if you fear for your life. Since 2015, insecurity has evolved faster than our response. That is June 12's unfinished business. The cost is high. Schools closed, farms abandoned, trust broken. Democracy promised protection. For many communities, that promise is still waiting. We vote every 4 years. We also want to sleep with our eyes closed. Security is not politics, it is survival.
It is very strange that Nigeria has grown into a culture where we can see cruelty all over the place. It is very strange to see that a Nigerian will rise up and kill another Nigerian. Then another set of Nigerians will blame the government. Do you imagine that kind of psyche? So we must stand up for the truth and core values of humanity, that the criminals among us must be fished out and must be dealt with.
I think the major challenge of insecurity is lack of patriotism among Nigerians. You see people carrying arms, being disobedient to the law that is governing the land, is as a result of unpatriotism. So when we become patriotic citizen of the country, we want it to move. We want everything to be stabilized, economic, social activities and all this stuff. But when unpatriotism has overwhelmed us, have taken over all our activities and character, it becomes very difficult for even the insecurity to come to an end.
Everybody now is talking of security, good. But everybody has a role to play. The government has its role. We people, the governors, have a role to play, to cooperate with government. If you see anything that is strange in your environment, call the authority. So it's awareness. If you are walking, you see somebody close to you, and you don't know his movements, okay, can I help you? So you will know, so I'm not for you. He will find his way. So that is what we can do. Everybody, all hands must be on deck. We must work with this government.
Government has responded. New security architecture, community policing, state outfits. Citizens have organized too. The question is, can our democratic institutions adapt fast enough?
You will recall that when this country got independent, that we have a local police, we have a state police, and we have a federal police that is policing the entire country. Now, under this democracy, because of the discouraging challenges that we are having now, the establishment of state police now has become very.
Thank you, Technica. Please, let's put it on hold. God bless everyone for the word of our time. Thank you. Please, let's put our hands together for the producer of that beautiful documentary. led by the Honorable Commissioner for Information and Orientation, Honorable Idowu Ajanaku. Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate you. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we'll want to take the introduction of our guest lecturer. Sir, can you be upstanding, sir, as I read your citation briefly? His Excellency, Comrade Senator Adamu Aliyu Oshiomhole, MNI, CON. Born on the 4th of April, 1952, in Iyamho, Edo State, Adams Oshiomhole early life was marked by modesty, hard work, and a strong sense of justice. After his primary and secondary education, he pursued further training in industrial relations and labor studies, both in Nigeria and overseas, including at the Ruskin College, Oxford, in the United Kingdom. These formative experiences laid the foundation for his lifelong commitment to social justice and the upliftment of workers and ordinary Nigerians. From labor leader to lawmaker, Oshiomhole rose to national prominence as the president of the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, from 1999 to 2007, where he led groundbreaking negotiations and protests against anti-people policies. His fearless leadership earned him public admiration and national credibility. In 2008, he transitioned to governance as the executive governor of Edo State, serving 2 terms until 2016. Under his administration, Edo witnessed transformative projects in education, infrastructure, urban renewal, and civil service reform. His tenure was widely regarded as the blueprint for effective governance. Following his governorship, Oshiomhole served as the national chairman of the All Progressive Congress, APC, from 2018 to 2020, playing a pivotal role in national political strategy and party cohesion. In 2023, he was elected as senator representing Edo North, returning to public office to continue his service to the nation. Serving Edo North in the Senate, focused representation, impactful advocacy. Since assuming office in the 10th National Assembly, Senator Oshiomhole has distinguished himself through purposeful legislative engagement. He has championed motions and bills focused on infrastructure, development, education, youth empowerment, and security. He remains an influential figure in Senate deliberation, leveraging his experience to advocate for policies that directly benefit Edo North and Nigeria at large. Beyond legislative work, Senator Oshiomhole maintains strong ties in his constituents through regular town halls meeting, feedback mechanism, grassroots consultations. His hand-on approach ensures that the voice of Edo North residents are not only heard, but actively shape his priorities at the national level. This commitment to inclusive governance reinforces his roles as a responsive and accessible representatives. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please bring your hands together as I welcome to the microphone His Excellency, Comrade Senator Aliyu Adamu Oshiomhole, MNI, CON. He will be taking us through the topic June 12 and beyond, reflecting on the progress of democracy and security concerns. Over to you.
Your Excellency, my very dear friend and comrade, Dr. Lucky Aye Datiwa, the Executive Governor of the great Ondo State. If you have challenge with my pronunciation of a Yoruba word, you have to understand. So Emma Binu, the Deputy Governor of Edo State, His Excellency Olayide Adelani, member of the National Institute, and they used to call it Mafia Nigeria Incorporated. His Royal Highness Oba Olufalaye, the Olu Abo of Ilu Abo, who is the chairman of this occasion, the Honorable Speaker of Edo State House of Assembly, Ondo State. Ṣé mọ̀ pé ìkan tó dáa fún Edo ó dáa fún Ondo? Àbí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́? Ṣé ẹ má bínú o? Let me pay my respect to your Royal Highnesses here present, members of the State House of Assembly, honorable commissioners, special advisors, leaders of civil society, market women, youths, and the great students. Great Ondo State. Great Ondo State. Your Excellency, the Governor, I really want to thank you. I am humbled by your invite to come and speak on occasion like this. I don't want to call it a lecturer because His Excellency knows that, and even listening to my biodata, there is nothing about me that suggests that I was ever a lecturer, and I can't possibly be a lecturer. I actually confess to His Excellency that I am left-handed, so I am not able to write. So there will be nothing to distribute. But unfortunately, I can see that there are cameras here. So if I say anything, it will be recorded, and I cannot deny it. I really feel humbled that the governor considered me fit to come and share some time with you on this great day of June 12th. A day that has been set aside to celebrate our democracy and to celebrate a man who has come to symbolize the conscience of the Nigerian nation, late Chief MKO Abiola. And I think for me, in celebrating Abiola, we are celebrating courage, consistency, doggedness, commitment to nation, and fearlessness. Because if he didn't have all of these qualities, Abiola could have sold his mandate and would just be another Nigeria living now, much, much older, and recalling how his mandate was sold. But he stood firm for democracy. He stood firm for Nigeria. Let me also acknowledge that in my younger days as Deputy President of Nigeria Labour Congress, I was privileged to be part of a delegation to negotiate with the then federal government of military president Badamasi Babangida. You know, the military, they don't have much patience for persuasion. And we were directed to finalize the discussions with the then Secretary to the Government of the Federation, who by the special grace of God today is a highly respected Royal Majesty Oba Olufalaye. I can confirm that we went into that room angry and determined to do what Labour people know best. By the way, let me acknowledge the workers and the NSC and TUC leaders that are here. And the secretary to the government as it then was, Obafalaye, gave us such recognition, so much warmth that we almost forgot what brought us there. And in the end, by the time he deployed his skill of persuasion and negotiation, we were able to have what you might call a compromise, and an agreement was reached. So I feel very honored that today I am able to sit next to a man who has played such a high role in government under very difficult circumstances. I'm talking about MKO Abiola. People like him had extremely more challenging role to play, caught between loyalty to the employer, the military, but also committed to the long-term objective of Nigerians to have a government that can be said to be elected by the ordinary Nigerian, which democracy represents. So I want to use this opportunity to congratulate His Majesty. This be my first time of meeting with you after your installation as the Olu Abo of Ilu Abo. Kábíyèsí o. When His Excellency invited me to speak on reflection on the progress of democracy and security concerns in Nigeria on the occasion of June 12th, I'm excited that I'm invited by a governor, but on the other hand, I wasn't too sure what I should say on an occasion like this. But I think before I share my thoughts, let me remind all of us, particularly the younger generation, and even the not so young politicians, that if Abiola was a believer that make money, the end justify the means, the military was ready to pay any amount to Chief MKO Abiola or derive whatever were his expenses for the electioneering, and even advance payment for whatever he wanted. I was privileged to be a member of the Nigeria Labour Congress delegation that met with General Sani Abacha in Abuja. And General Sani Abacha said to us, he was ready to tolerate anything. He was ready to do anything for MKO Abiola. But the one thing he was not ready to do is to tolerate the idea that Abiola has proclaimed himself as president. Because according to him, he was not. But the truth is, you all know that that is one election in which the Kano man, the Aboki, preferred MKO Abiola from Ogun State than Alhaji Tofa from Kano State. And what does that tell us? That talking about June 12th is to remind ourselves that we had Nigerians that commanded respect across the north, the south, the east, the west, Muslims, Christians, pagans, and all. From that situation, we've now got into one in which it is pastors that are prophesizing who will be what. And the issue of religion become an issue. Abiola ran election with King Gibe, both of them Muslims. Nigerians were more educated to understand politically that nation building is not about your personal faith. In any case, who knows a believer? Are we to define a believer as the man or woman who spend more time in church or in the mosque? In any case, a couple of times I have attended the Catholic church. I'm a Catholic. And the Reverend Father says, watch your pocket, because as you file out to receive Holy Communion, somebody is filing out to your pocket to take your phone. As a Muslim, I'm aware that you are not supposed to carry your shoe into the church, into the mosque. You are supposed to leave the shoe outside. But nobody dare do so now, because if you leave the shoe outside, before you come back, somebody else will be wearing the shoe. So people now carry shoe and put in their front as if it is the object they are worshiping. So who then is a believer? What is the impact of religion? Does it deliver breakfast? Did Jesus say we should spend all our life, pray for him, and in the end we'll have manners will drop from heaven? But Abiola symbolizes the Nigeria spirit. Because in the absence of issues, and people, men or women, liking that recognition, liking ideas with which you can fire the electorate to start by you, have to remind us of our accident of bad place, of the fact that our tongue might differ, etc., etc. I remember Abiola saying, General Abacha saying that Abiola has to renounce his mandate and even apologize on the national broadcast for calling himself president. But we're not able to tell Abacha that we are one of those who voted. In fact, all of us there, we all voted for Abiola, about 80 million votes. So how can you be saying to us, who were not just witnesses but participated in the process, that Abiola was not the president? But we look around, we don't have ADC behind us, so we listen to him. He finished with his stone face and said he was not going to release MKO Abiola unless he apologized. From there, we went to the vice president, or was it the chief of general staff? I believe it was then Brigadier General Paul Dia. And they also asked us to plead with Abiola to accept certain conditions so that he can be released. I remember the then founder of Guardian newspapers, Alex Ibru, I think. He was the Minister of Internal Affairs, and he told me he would want the privilege. He would want to be able to speak to MKO Abiola if we are able to see him. And then I had this phone call, Not 9 Not, the first mobile phone. After 2-3 days, we were able to see Chief MKO Abiola. They brought him to the police headquarters. And I gave him the phone. I told him what Chief Ibru said, that he would like to speak with him over the phone. He obliged. I don't know what Ibru was telling him, the Minister of Internal Affairs, but we could hear, because it was in our presence, Abiola's reply. At a point he said, even if he will sell firewood, again, he will be ready to do so. And he said, when you find yourself already inside the river, why do you have to bother about the fact that you are wet? There are many proverbs that Abiola uses to justify his position on issues, why trade-off is not part of his DNA. I remembered my then president, because NSC fell into faction, those pro and those anti. The then president of NSC said, Parker Bafiao, he said, Chief, you should accept these conditions. And Chief said, go and tell those who send you. I was elected and I remain the president of Nigeria. I will not sell it off. Those who left their homes to queue to vote for him, they didn't go to farm that day. Some didn't go to office. Those who didn't go to office, maybe they were paid because they are employees, whether in the public sector or private sector. But those rural farmers, those market women, students, lawyers, those who are self-employed, who choose to queue to vote for him, he cannot monetize or compromise their sweat by accepting any condition other than upholding the decision of the Nigerian people to elect him as president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So as a young person, I did not so young, whether future politicians or current politicians, you'll have to ask yourself, if you were the one, will you not say, how I will do now? At least half bread is better than nothing. The way I take Siam, if I know I accept, I go die here. I know what die here. And some will collect. But I think the essence of June 12th celebration is that Abiola taught us the value of consistency, of not betraying anyone who makes sacrifice for you to occupy a position. He taught us one important value, that it is not everything that can be monetized. Money doesn't always deliver happiness. And that even death might well be a fair price to pay. Now you look back and you ask yourself, yes, Abiola died. But those who killed him, do they have peace? Many of them, have they not joined him? Is there any day set aside to celebrate some of them? But Abiola will live forever, while those who killed him will be remembered. Only the days we want to remember evildoers. And I think on this note that I want to appreciate His Excellency the Governor for organizing a forum such as this to celebrate June 12th, which is synonymous with celebrating the lives and time of Chief MKO Abiola. I remember after that meeting, Abiola asked me, because Pascal went to consult with the Commissioner of Police. He said, Adams, can you guys not start the strike again? I said, we can. The country, the people are ready. But at that time, they have started introducing some dysfunctional elements into the struggle against the annulment of June 12th. And even the NSC had become divided. I don't want to say too many things here. I murmured to His Royal Highness, the chairman of this occasion, how small as I am, after the NSC was dissolved, I was at a guest house on Acme Road in Ikeja, Lagos, where we have the Textile Labor House. I was secretary also of the Textile Workers Union. And DSS came to pick me up at about 9 p.m., took me to Shagisha, and I informed my wife. They were kind enough to allow me so to do. And the following day, they told me to tell my wife they are not the one who are looking for me. They are just to facilitate my arrest, and I'm going to. They had to take me to Awolowo Way, where they have the Directorate of Military Intelligence, where you have one Lieutenant Colonel Omeka as the interrogator in chief. It was only then I realized that the detentions you find in police cell, those are mansions. Military detention, like some comedians will say, when a policeman slap you is bad enough, but for a soldier who has not been paid salary slap you, you may not survive it. I didn't know that there are cells in a basement, no windows, and they put water inside. So if you are standing in water. If you sit, you are to sit in water. There is no window, there is no light. And by the time you are in that darkness for 24 hours, God helps you if you regain your sight. So small as I am, people would even have pity on me, and they accuse me of plotting to overthrow General Sani Abacha. The reason I'm saying this is that, talking about Democracy Day, in particular for our young people who don't even know what life was, for our young civil society activists, for our young media men and women, freedom, even in poverty, is to be celebrated, because you can lose both. So when I see people make comments in a manner that suggests that democracy is for big men knows how to negotiate. So every big man may have an officer who is a military guy. I found that being detained for 24 hours, 48 hours in the basement before you are brought to the cell on ground, you will wish that even if you never have food and you have freedom, you are the richest man in town. So democracy does not promise a perfect society. What it promises is that at least you will have freedom to talk. You have the freedom, if you like, to abuse, but you also have the freedom to be charged if you cross the red line. And you will not be detained without trial. You will be brought to court, and the court will put you to where you belong. So I feel for all of us, at the heart of June 12 struggle, which Abiola symbolized, is that we must not equate democracy with wealth, with money in our pocket. If that was the case, Abiola could have taken billions of naira when naira had even greater value then, and allow the military to have their way, and he will go and buy a house in Dubai or wherever, and allow you and I to continue to live under that military dictatorship. That the military vacated was obviously the result of the fact that Abiola's blood whet and fired the appetite of men and women across the country to insist that the military must go. And as you will remember, when Babangida decided to step aside, he said he was stepping aside. And that same day, he went to Mina. That was not a voluntary retirement. And Abacha came in, where they brought a concussion, as you remember, headed by Shudikon, just to buy time. And as I said, the rest is history. Abacha took over. He became the sole candidate of 5 political parties. Again, the rest is history. It's no more. How they settled there, I don't know. but God will be the ultimate judge between those who kill Abiola, who have gone to meet him there, and he will be their senior, I suspect, because he arrived there before them, and they will be judged based on the rules of the Almighty Creator. So I appeal to all of us that even in our moment of frustration, even in poverty, the democracy has no alternative. That we should see as something that is non-negotiable. And if you look at Ondo State, there is no perfect state, there is no perfect nation. But for people of my age who have lived here or visited this state between 1999, before 1999, and 1999 and now, you will agree that all your problems may not have been solved, and they will not be solved because new problems will come. But there can be no question that sustained changes have taken place and more changes are taking place under this governor. And I listened, acknowledging the presence of students, of civil society, of market women, of labor unions, of party leaders. Which military governor is going to sit with you to discuss anything? Even the most senior traditional rulers were deposed for traveling without permission from the local government chairman. I hope your Royal Highnesses you are aware too. And they have federal character, one from the north and one from the south. I will mention their names. If you don't know, go and read the books. Just to say that even the traditional institutions have a stake in democracy. I'm not sure what exactly was in the mind of His Excellency or the organizers when they choose this topic, democracy, progress of democracy and security concerns. For me, I believe we made some progress. Many will say maybe we could have made much faster progress as a nation. But if you look at between 1999 and today, and you look at the way the country has been managed or mismanaged, you can see a couple of things that have changed. And I believe on that basis we can extrapolate that more changes, qualitative changes will occur. Beyond the election conducted by the military in 1999 that produced President Olusegun Obasanjo, the subsequent election in 2003 was massively rigged, as I'm sure you all know, including the governor you elected in this state. Those were the days where policemen even helped the then ruling party, the PDP, to carry ballot boxes. And there was this joke, or was it a correct story, about a professor who approached the strongman of Ibadan politics, I think Adedibu, Chief Adedibu of blessed memory, and he said he wanted to contest for election, whether to the Senate or House of Rep. And Adedibu was reflected as asking him, can you carry a gun with your right hand and a ballot box on the left and run to the bush, write result, come back, and get the officer under gunpoint to declare the result? The professor said he can. It's okay, then you wait. When those who can do it have finished, they can appoint you as a commissioner or secretary to government or minister or whatever. I think from that crude approach to election in 2023, supervised by the former President Olusegun Obasanjo. Now we have to mention names because I don't know how not to do so. Because my father told me everybody writes his own script. while you are alive, what to do and what to abstain from doing. We have to document history. From that, we went to 2007, and the then president, now having attempted to amend the constitution, and the second arm of government, which is the National Assembly, find courage to reject the proposal for the then president to remove the 2-term limit. If the National Assembly hadn't found courage to do that, I am not a prophet, but looking at what has happened in Zimbabwe, with a very progressive Mugabe, later becoming a life president, and looking at what is happening in Uganda, with Museveni, who started very well after the overthrow of Idi Amin, now running the 7th term. And then I go to Cameroon, and I'm seeing a 93-year-old man be re-elected as president, even as they are managing to help him to stand up. I said, but for the National Assembly, who knows, Obasanjo will have remained the president of Nigeria till today. And he will use Cameroon as a reference. He will say he's stronger than the man in Cameroon. But the forces of democracy terminated that effort. Whatever anybody wants to say, if that hadn't happened, our governor today, I don't know where you could have been, but you wouldn't be a governor of this state because you are not qualified to be appointed. Given the little I know about you, in terms of courage, consistency, commitment to fairness and justice, and accountability to the people. So when we discuss where we are and we celebrate, it's not because things are perfect, but a couple of achievements have been recorded. I'm talking about that tenure because I'm looking at progress of our democratic process. I'm sure we have people here who will not forget in a hurry the fact that under the first president and Attorney General of the Federation, Bola Ige, was killed. And till tomorrow, I am not sure we have found a satisfactory explanation about that gruesome murder of the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, who couldn't even get justice. I am talking now about the quality and the nature of democracy by under the first president produced between 1999 and 2007. We also had a guy called Harry Marshall, who was also murdered. These were political assassination. There was one Sikibo, who was also murdered. Everybody agreed these were political assassination. We had a president who gave order that the people of Odi were protesting over the way in which military personnel were harassing their people and so on and so forth, and they fought the military, and he ordered the military to go and sack the community. As president of NSC, I went to Odi, and I was shocked the kind of bullet holes I found in buildings. Those in Benue, we also remember, even though they had the then chief of army staff, they had their fair share of an order from a Nigeria president that the civil community be attacked. But the reason I'm bringing this out is that then as a president of NLC, people tell me, you can see these people who, if they can kill Bola Ige, if they can kill all these ones, you better shut up. But today, whether anybody acknowledges it or not, I think we can't deny the fact that the era of political assassination is gone, even as people are very critical. I watch television, I see people abuse the president thoroughly, and they go home and sleep. That is democracy. So the point I'm trying to make, Your Excellency, is that between the first president of Nigeria and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, in 1999, you compare that era of do or die proclamation by Obasanjo, and you compare it to that of Yaradua, who admitted that the election they are producing was not clean. But in the interest of security, he will accept reluctantly to be president, but he will reform the electoral process. Now, the point I'm trying to make is that democracy can throw out a very dangerous person, but it can also throw out a man that will give you comfort. Because when I look at people talking now, I say we need to continue to remind young people how some people, I think this phone is down, the microphone is on strike. Where are the Labour guys? All right, thank you. What are you doing there? Go and sit down. I didn't know he was standing there. Is your body bulletproof? It doesn't make any difference. So I don't want younger people to recognize that there is some improvement in terms of the temperament of successive presidents that this system has produced. The same thing can be said for governors in different states. I say so because when I watch TV and I see the pronouncement by people who have governed us before, they are able to get away with half-truth or completely lie to innocent younger population. People like us, we have a duty to keep on acting those decisions they took, which led many people wondering whether there was a difference between military rule and civilian democracy. You know, many times I watch TV, I see people asking, is this democracy working? And I was asked a journalist, do you know a man called Malaulu, I think, who was accused of plotting coup with his pen because he wrote an article that was not favorable? And he was charged for plotting coup and he was jailed, probably for life for 20-something years. So I want us to look at what is happening around our neighbors, because at a point, some people didn't quite understand. These past 3 weeks, if you watch the international media, you will find that in Niger and in Burkina Faso, civil society activists are being picked up and detained without trial by the military rulers that have taken over democracy, taken over those countries. We need to amplify this so that even in our anger, we must not question the need to stand and defend democracy. Let us have the right to elect a bad governor and have the right to remove a bad governor through peaceful election. Let us defend our right to hire a president who may be do or die by his proclamation to another one that we say, please, don't kill. My office is not what? The office of Nigeria president is not worth the blood of a Nigerian. That was Goodluck Jonathan. You remember before him, you hired Yaradua who says, this thing that produced me, Kodarara, but Molati game, Torikpeti by game, some other things will happen. So I can see steady improvement in the quality and the character of successive presidents that this system has produced. And now we have President Bola Ahmed Tinubu after Buhari. Again, we can say different things about President Buhari, but there's one thing all of us will agree with, and that is that Whereas President Obasanjo refused to acknowledge the huge sacrifices of Abiola, leading to him paying the supreme price by declaring June 12th a public holiday. President Obasanjo from Ogun State preferred that Nigeria celebrate the day he assumed office as a civilian president. We need to understand how their mind works. And for those who are ethnic champions, what an Ogun State Yoruba man refused to do, an Hausa president, Buhari, decided to acknowledge that Abiola won the election, he paid the supreme price, and that day should be celebrated, not the day that somebody who benefited from his death was sworn in as president. For me, the lessons are clear, that even among, no matter what you want to say, from every situation, there's one or two things that leaders have done that over time will strengthen and entrench certain values of fairness and justice in our body politic. Let me fast forward, because I don't want to prove His Royal Highness right when he said I was going to speak according to my height. I'm very cautious of that, because traditional rulers speak in proverbs. You know, you must have seen recently some debates in the National Assembly in which I was, how do I put it? Was I blamed, criticized, or whatever for calling some people in NNPC some names? But I think that the only way you can understand democracy is that whether in a dictatorship or traditional institution, it is the presence of parliament that makes the difference. If you have a governor in Ondo State, as you do, without Ondo State House of Assembly, there is no democracy. Now, the governor, powerful as he is, even the symbolism, the day he goes to present his budget, and he take a bow before a man elected by, I don't know how many House of Assembly members you have here. The person occupied the office of Speaker. The governor takes a bow before him. I lay the document. If he doesn't do that, powerful as he is with all his immunity, he will not be able to spend a dime. So young men and women in the House of Assembly, we have to subject his thoughts to democratic scrutiny, what you call the budgetary process. It varies from state to state and from time to time, but there can be no question that subjecting a governor to such democratic scrutiny in terms of his budget proposals and what he wants to do, and each member looking at what is in this budget that is in my constituency, for me, you can't fault this kind of system. So in the National Assembly, we have bicameral at the national level, the House of Rep and the Senate. And I have tried, because remember what I said earlier, that we must credit the National Assembly. I think other Senate President Namani, he was the one presiding, and he decided to allow the camera in so that every senator will be counted either for third term or against third term. And once the senators saw cameras, one of them was the president that said, what will I tell my people? That I went to vote for permanent presidency? No, I vote against. One after the other. That is how third term was dismissed. So in that same spirit, I believe since then, every assembly has added its own contribution. And when I talk about the election process, as I spoke before about INEC and all of that, regardless of what people want to say, the current assembly, because we are approaching election soon, has made an important amendment which we all need to take into account. And that is that the days are gone when one man can vote 4 times and somebody summarize the figures and can add or subtract. The last amendment we made to the Electoral Act provides that if the beavers does not work, the presiding officer can no longer play tricks. He has to wait to replace the bad beavers. If it still doesn't work, the election will be conducted the following day. So there will be no way you can bypass the use of beavers. So the era of our ancestors coming to vote and returning to the grave is gone. So I believe these are incremental improvement in our electoral process. If you look at where we are coming from, test of INEC as the umpire and the law as they are today. So I believe the National Assembly has added value to the electoral process. However, we are still struggling. And for me, I perfectly understand that. Because the beauty of parliament is debate. Even if we come from the same womb, we are twins. We don't necessarily have to have the same values. And so I find myself in a committee of the National Assembly, which is called Public Accounts Committee. And we ask a big company that sees itself as bigger than Nigeria. Nigeria is the parastatal. The company is in Nigeria called NNPC. For over a year, for over more than 9 times, they've been invited to come and explain. And I'm saying this because what I can't say on the floor of the Senate, and if I say it, I'm asked to withdraw it, I can say it here, and I stand by it. If anybody is unhappy, he can go to court because you can't detain me. The audit report of an NPC, this is the beauty of democracy. Other military dictatorship, I cannot say this and go home and sleep. The audit report shows that between 2017 and 2022, that is before President Bola Ahmed Tinubu assumed office. Let's be very, very clear about this. Because there are mischief makers. When you talk, they say, you are trying to attack so. Between 2017 and 2022, they looked at NHPC books. Auditors like KPMG, not Adam Oshomole and Cole, they established that NNPC could not account for certain figures they saw in their books, totaling about 210 trillion naira. I was watching, I think, Arise TV, and Warren Rufai said, those are bogus figures. I say, only a bogus mind who do not understand the depth of our challenges can reach such conclusion because he simply believes it's not possible. If you have never seen an elephant, and they tell you that 2 people can be walking on the elephant and they are not seeing each other, you will not believe because you have only been dealing with rats and rabbits. I saw Rufai said the biggest are bogus. How? Let me explain. Under the Nigeria Constitution, and in order to ensure transparency, the Constitution provides that all government agencies, MDAs, their accounts are to be audited. The report forwarded to the Auditor General of the Federation, who we thought we refer the document to the National Assembly. And so the auditors appointed by NMPC and approved by the Auditor General of the Federation to audit the books came up with these figures. And somebody who knows next to nothing about finances says the figures are bogus. I will say they are mind-boggling. When you look at the total income accrued to Ondo State, and you hear of 210 trillion naira by one corporate citizen called Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation Limited. Let me give you a window why all of us must demand that that matter must never be swept under the carpet. There must be eternal fighting within our parliaments between the forces of light and the forces of darkness. And he who is afraid of death for something will find himself dying for nothing. Those who refuse to stand on their feet and be counted for an idea and go on their knees, they will be kicked like rabbits by even the most laziest hunter. NMPC claim, according to the auditors, not mushroom auditors, auditors approved by the Auditor General's office and nominated by NMPC to audit their own books. Some of these auditors are international companies. His Royal Highness knows the status of these auditors. These are not mushroom players. NMPC just wrote in the book that they spent about 107 trillion naira. That these monies of NMPC were in various banks, and that those banks have been liquidated, and therefore the monies have vanished. So what is the task of our Committee on Public Accounts? One of them is to say, all right, we are not saying anything other than this cannot be the end of the story. What is the name, or what are the name of these banks, so that we can find out who owned the banks where 107 or so trillion disappeared? Is this an unreasonable question to ask? Give us the name of the banks. Let us know how much was in each of the banks that has gone under. 9 invitations. Before then, the current management was invited, and they said they can't explain the figures. Okay, let's invite those who were there at the time. Night time. Then somebody said, the man said it's in Germany. Clocher. But this matter has been on, and he did not write to us. There was no letter under his signature informing the Senate that I am not able to attend because I am somewhere. Someone just said he made a phone call and he said he understands he's out of the country. Really? For that kind of money? Yoruba say, OTO, Kodabe, Abiodabe. So, and the man who was in office when these abuses took place, the chief finance officer of NMPC was saying to us, no money is missing. But explain this to the auditors. Because the auditors say you have not explained where this money is. So let me ask you, is it really be too radical to insist that they tell us the names in black and white of these banks and how much was in each of the banks, and even so that we can find out the owners of these banks? Because, you know, the corporate world, a limited liability company, the company might go bankrupt while the owner has private jets. And these days, AMCON will buy the body using your taxpayers' money while the man is living in no planes. That's the nature of the society. And we must keep fighting. And you don't have to be a senator to fight. I didn't start fighting as a senator. The second is about 103 trillion. Mr. MD, the report says you claim that this money, some of your dealers, distributors, tanker drivers, trailers, that product carried across the country, you know, oil spillage or whatever, you've lost this. Who own these tankers? Where? For 103 trillion. That is how we arrive at the 210. So detail the name of each of these tanker drivers or tanker owners that took your product and did not pay for it, and they have just disappeared. If elephant disappear from the forest and you cannot even see the footprint, you are going to believe that? But it's possible for a rat to run across here and you will find the evidence, but not an elephant. Do you know the meaning of 103 trillion divided by 1,360 or 65 naira to the dollar? And you find out the amount in US dollars. So that even by US standard, it's a bit too much. So this is what we asked the gentleman to explain. And he looked at us in the face and said, you don't have monopoly of patriotism. Really? I don't have monopoly of patriotism? You cannot talk down on me by asking questions? This report is not prepared by me. At that point, we have reputation. We have integrity. How can a man who cannot explain 210 trillion naira lay claim to integrity? How? No, if they do, tell me they do. How? And you sit down there. So the reason I want to speak to this is that he's talking about democracy. But for democracy, who am I? Look at my small height. Who will listen to me? But the Constitution of Nigeria empowered me to ask those questions and go home and sleep. And even come to Ondo State today. They are angry, they are bitter, but they can't do anything. They can pay some people off, but they cannot pay me off. No. Abiola taught us to stand. Even where the whole world is quiet, speak out. For me, this is the essence of June 12th. Not the fact that a man was born called M.K. Abiola and then he died. But he died for a cause. And democracy has a purpose: to empower ordinary people to interrogate big people. And then some professional blackmailers come to me and say, are you sure you are not embarrassing the government? And I said, no. I'm very sure, because I am fully batified. I am 100% batified. I am not a batified man by opportunistic intentions. I am a believer in President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's commitment to bail out Nigeria. And I reminded those ones who want to hide under his name that if Malam Meli Kyari was doing well and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was satisfied, he will not have sacked him. Did President Tinubu not sack him? Do you sack somebody who is doing well? He sacked him because he wasn't satisfied. So my business is to assist the president while he's busy doing other reforms. And it is part of those reforms, because if the man was still in office, who knows whether those audits will come out. So I have to remind them that this crime we are investigating was committed between 2017 and 2022 before President Bola Ahmed Tinubu ever assumed office. So don't say, but he's the minister. So lastly, talking about democracy and the progress that we might have made. You know, now, people are battling between manipulation of ethnicity, manipulation of religion, manipulation of all sorts of things to divide and confuse the electorate. We are going for election, and I expect that as part of our individual commitment to ensure that we know why we are voting, that we don't allow people who have perfected the art of crime. These are expensive. Life is tough. There is no unemployment. Blah, 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 blah. And if you are not deep, you will be carried away. But I want us to ask the hard questions. Before President Bola Ahmed Tinubu assumed office, I was one of those fighting when I was president of the NLC. I'm sure we shut down Nigeria up to 7 or 8 times, protesting against the withdrawal of subsidy. But at that time, the numbers were about 20 billion, 40 billion, 50 billion a year. And now I used to ask President Obasanjo, what you can't do with 100 billion. I mean, 100 billion, yes? Or 900 billion. 1 or 2 trillion naira. What would 40 billion do? But from that modest figures, the system cost subsidy ballooned to between 6 and 8 trillion in a year. So anybody who wanted to steal money with debit subsidy. And that was why even under Jonathan, if you check the record, I said, we in NSC should no longer be used to insist on subsidy and then lazy men hide under it to bleed the economy. And if you play back the campaign of 2023, you will find that Atiku Abubakar said he will withdraw subsidy. Peter Obi, a trader, said he will withdraw subsidy. Of course, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, an accountant, said he will withdraw subsidy. All major presidential candidates agreed on this. But remember that the issue has never been making statements about what you will do. The challenge has always been when you get there. Now President Bola Ahmed Tinubu got there. The very first day, he withdrew it. He could have said, look, let me also produce my own trillionaires using the subsidy. Let me take 2 from Ondo, 2 from Ogun, 3 from Lagos, and if he's kind, 1 from Edo State. And then when we have made our own money in the name of subsidy, then you can abolish it. But he decided on day 1 If it is forbidden, we will not touch it for 1 day. And he removed it. So people say, it is, yeah, we say we'll remove it, but it is how it was removed. We say we'll kill a snake, but we didn't agree on how to kill the snake. Provided the snake is killed, what really matters? But they haven't told us how else they could have deal with it. So when they come to Ondo State, as they will do, probably, you will ask them, applicant for presidency, speak to us about subsidy, because you said since the subsidy was withdrawn, there has been hardship. Okay. Will you restore it back if we vote for you? And listen to their answer. They will tell you it's too late. Then you will ask them, second question, exchange rate. Will you return to the Emefiele style and Buhari style and even Obasanjo style and Jonathan style, where you have dual exchange rate? That if you know the governor of the CBN, he can allocate at quote and unquote official rate. And then you go to Aboki and convert it and you make 100% profit. Would that be in your interest to do? But you can ask them, will they return dual exchange rate? Because President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has abolished that. He could have also decided that before I abolish it, let me chop my own part. Mr. Emefiele, before I send you to prison, allocate $100 million at official exchange rate. And he will see Aboki and convert it. He will make more than $100 million, and then the following day, he can announce abolition. But from the outset, he directed, you can't have a country in which the rich, some people buy exchange rate, sell, make money with only telephone, without a real business address. You don't think such a courageous man should be celebrated? Of course, there are consequences. So you ask them, will they bring back dual exchange rate? I understand, and I saw greatest Bobo. Some young Nigerian students are here. I am born to a very humble family, to put it nicely. But actually, the way we talk in Bia Palo, we were born to poor parents who couldn't afford school fees. But President Bola Ahmed has said, through the student loan scheme, if your parents can't pay your school fees, federal government will lend you the money to pay. And you will not refund until you get job. When they come to you, ask them, are you going to abolish the student loan scheme? Because there has to be a basis to change your driver. Whether you will turn from right-hand driving to left-hand driving, there has to be a basis for choice. But if you are not going to do anything differently, will life don't change like that? You have to do the right thing. What is the right thing? Give us the details. I don't want to prove His Royal Highness right, but I have to borrow from His Majesty's patience. Truth is, we face serious problem of insecurity, and it is serious. There's no downplaying it. But the question to ask is, I think there are two basic questions. The first one is to ask ourselves, how did we even find insecurity as an issue in Nigeria? This was under President Olusegun Aremu Obasanjo. When Boko Haram started in Borno State, towards the end of his tenure, And I watched a statement credited to him saying that when he met with the leaders of Boko Haram, that their demands were not really political. It was not really religion. Really? What is the meaning of Boko Haram? That they are opposed to Western education. And yet, a president tells us that when he made this, there is not really religion. All right. It's not really religion. My first question, so you know them. When you met them and they told you it's about hunger, is the hunger in Borno different from the hunger in Abeokuta? Is it different from hunger in Benin and in Lagos? But for me, the most important thing is so you know them. You know the armed robbers. You know the murderers. They told you why they are killing, and you could have them arrested. So we must not be allowed to think that some of those people talking now, if they have nipped this thing in the bud, Tinubu would have to move on to other bigger issues. Do any of you remember that other PDP watch, the police headquarters in Abuja was bombed? Any of you had that recollection? So even Abuja was bombed. This day newspaper office in Abuja was burnt, destroyed. So the only reason I'm bringing this is that when people play on your soft spot, they confuse you. The armed robber who came in the night to dispossess you of your items, come in the afternoon, met you sitting on the floor because he had carted away the furniture in the night, and say, Ekbeleo, you got what you could darara. You don't have furniture, you are just sitting on the floor. Meanwhile, who carted away the furniture at night is the same man coming in the afternoon to pose as a sympathizer. So we must interrogate those who want to make omelette, promising omelette, but they are not showing us the eggs that they are going to break to be able to cook that omelette. Lastly, last week, Obi was reported as saying that Nigerians in South Africa, they prefer to die there than to be repatriated to Nigeria. And I think the point he was trying to politicize the horror, the hardship, the destruction, the deprivation that our brothers and sisters in South Africa are going through in the hands of black South Africans, who are also confused because their government, under Ramaphosa, made a promise during his electioneering campaign, and that is why I said when they come, ask them some questions, that the job of South Africans is being done by foreigners. He used it as a campaign instrument, and now he won election. The people expected him to now get rid of, identify these foreigners and follow the rule of law and take them, do something about it. But he knows that he only used it as a campaign tool. And now South Africans have taken law into their hand. They are not fighting white people. They have no problem with white immigrants who oppress them. They have no problem with the descendants of apartheid. Now they have problem with Nigerians who contributed money, including students, for the liberation of South Africa. In our border politics, there must be a time where the whole country, across party divide, should unite behind the government of the day. But when I heard Obi saying Nigerians prefer to die in South Africa than to come back here, and the point is trying to make is that they left here because the economic condition here is not favorable. But ask Obi, who is the sole importer of two oceans, South Africa red wine to Nigeria? He is. Go and check his supermarket. So I'm not going to politicize this conversation. If I have done so, it wasn't my intention. But the topic is democracy and security concerns. So I believe that when you look at the number of people who have been, including senior commanders who have died, you can't say that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not doing something. He is. Those guys didn't die in the war front because they were playing in a nightclub. It is fighting to defend our country. And on occasion like this, we must acknowledge the supreme price that many men and women in uniform have paid in defense of our country. The only additional point I made last time on the floor of the Senate, which again they tried to twist, I didn't say we should probe the army. Probe is not the word. The meaning of accountability is not just financial questions. It's about explaining to us, because sometimes we hear, as representative of the people, that some soldiers don't have enough bullets. Why? Because the president has provided resources. How are these used? So this kind of interrogation is not to find fault. It is to see if there is a gap and see what we can do positively. Because the truth is, you can't dismiss the effort of the president, nor can you downplay the supreme price that many officers have paid in defense of our country, including soldiers. Let me conclude by thanking Your Excellency for inviting me and helping me to reunite with my father, His Royal Highness, and my comrades. One of the things I learned in politics is that you have to mobilize the market women. Market women, oh yeah. And of course, we say in Edo, no youth, no election. No youth, no woman, no nation. No woman. Is there any one of us who came to this world without passing through the womb of a woman? So no woman, but no man, no miliki. Thank you very much. Let us enjoy this democracy and resolve to defend it unconditionally. Thank you and God bless you all.
Shall we be seated? Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, fellow Nigerians, can we please appreciate our guest speaker as well as the lecture? It was patriotically resonant and historically grounded. Our speaker reminded us why June 12 matters, not just as a date, but as a duty. And because June 12 is about the people's voice, let's keep that conversation going. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is time for interactive session. And at this juncture, I would like to hand over the microphone to the chairman of today's occasion, His Royal Majesty, Oba Samuel Oluyemi Falai, CFR, GCON, the Olu of Iluabo, Baba Oba of Akura Kingdom, former SGF, former Minister of Finance. Kabiesio.
Your Excellency, the guest speaker, ladies and gentlemen, you know, I warned you that Adam can never speak for a short period. But for the fact that he's hurrying back to Benin, he will have been here until 6 o'clock. We want to thank him for very erudite presentation. Now, questions, comments, and remarks. Please just raise your hand if you want to speak. We are taking those 3. Sorry, we take 4. 1 per row. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, any speaker? Nobody? Very well. Someone? Please, yes, stand up. Yes? What do you have to say? Mike, okay. Maybe another one. That's for that row. Please, you have just 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
My name is Honorable Ido Samuel Ajay from the Federal Local Government, Ondo State. Thank you. I just want to thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, I've been listening to you since I was just, I think, maybe 13 years of age. But thank you for keeping your word. We see you all the time. You are fighting for us. And I appreciate you so much. But I want you to continue this in the Senate. Continue speaking for the poor people, minority. We are talking about democracy today. I know you fought for it because I saw you then. And I'm thanking God for your life today. You are still alive. I appreciate you. I'm not asking a question because you have done well. And I want to also thank you.
Thank you.
For what you have been doing. And I'm thanking the governor of Ondo State. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you very much.
Let's continue fighting for the democracy. We can get it done. We are not yet there. We are not there yet. We cannot be compare ourselves with the United States of America or other country. But let's put more gas on our democracy. We can do better. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes. Please bring the microphone to the front row.
Mr. Chairman, sir, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, one, Senator, I heard about you. One has heard about you a long time, know you by reputation. But on 1 or 2 occasions we met. We have known you for this approach. Now, after I have spoken, I asked myself about the security aspect. I wish you are able to tell us exactly what you think can still be done to stop this nonsense that is going on.
Thank you very
That's
much.
about the security.
Thank you very much.
Secondly, sir, now you are one of those in the forefront during the agitation. Incidentally, I was in the House of Reps that time, and we had our own contributions. Those who really agitated and did all sorts of things, only a few of you have had the opportunity through your struggle, continue struggling, to still be relevant. Now, I was happy this morning when I heard the president's speech recognizing some activists. It's good. But, and I know you are close to the president, will you please have a way to let him know that most activists are still outside his consideration?
Thank you very much.
Then, thirdly, sir.
Sorry, 2 minutes only.
Okay. This is very important.
2 minutes only. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes. Any other speaker? Student? Please, let's see your hand.
Our guest speaker, Senator Adams Oshiomhole, I really appreciate you. You have gone memory line, and a lot of our youths have really benefited. I am pharmacist Olukojo Alfred, and I want to thank God for witnessing most of the things that you have said. I want to believe that the national anthem we are singing today is as a result of the national conference conducted under the PDP. APC government promised us a lot of things, and we are seeing a lot of them being manifested, and we're happy for it. But one thing they promised, I don't know when they want to do it for us, because during our own protest in university, we sing that song of Nigeria. They say, "Hail Nigeria." This is the song we are singing now. So it's a solidarity song. They promised us that they're going to do sovereign national conference where we are going to discuss how we are going to live together as a nation. Chief Obafemi Awolowo said Nigeria is nations brought together. It's just a geographical entity. So we need that sovereign national conference in which we'll be able to say the people of Nigeria have decided to do this and that. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Any other speaker? Last speaker? Yeah? Last speaker? Okay, if there's none. Okay, all right.
Thank you very much, sir. Senator, sir, thank you very much for everything you've said today. I've learned a lot of things as a young man, history-wise. There are some stories you said, that you told us here, that primarily we don't see them, we don't read them in the books. And I'm a 27-year-old man. But there's something I would want to push out there. Please, if possible on the floor of the Senate, can it be advocated for the re-inclusion and putting an importance on the subject history? We have youths here that we don't know anything about this country, and would always find these things in the government subject and in history. Education is the bedrock of the society, and it is important that we learn our history. Yorùbá ní tí ọmọdé ò bàbá tí ò bàbá ìtàn àbá àròbá àròbá sì ní kíni. Okay. History is the most important thing. Please, a lot of us, if you ask them now, everything you said, most of them don't know it. Please, we are the leaders of tomorrow. We need to know what has happened, where we are at the moment, and how we are going to go as a nation. Thank you very much.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you. What? No, got four. I said four is four.
Good afternoon, sirs. Good afternoon, Excellency. Good afternoon, my daddy, the chairman of the occasion. My question goes thus to the guest speaker, sir. Actually, I've known you for so long as an activist. But since you joined the Senate right now, I've seen what you have been doing. But I'm using this medium to employ you, sir, as an activist, not only for labor, but I want you to be an activist for women also. We are clamoring for more space for women at the national assemblies, and including the appointments given. And I want you to please stand up for us, because we cannot have a woman like you. Because looking at you at that podium, there's this morale in me. I felt like, bam, to do something like you. But there's a limit for our own morale. So I want you to go there, sir. Be our mouth spoken person. Our man, stand up for us, for women. We need more space. The inclusive of women. Thank you, sir. God bless you. And
indeed.
I really appreciate my governor, the Excellency, for bringing you to Ondo State to witness this day. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very
God
much
bless you.
indeed. I now call on Senator Adam Oshiomhole, the guest speaker, to respond to the comments made.
Thank you, sir. I will. Sir, I think the first one is on security. What can be done? In fairness to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the first supplementary budget that he submitted to the National Assembly was primarily about providing more funding for our armed forces. Budget after budget, the allocation to the armed forces has continued to increase. This is in recognition of the fact that if the people are not safe, you can't talk about economy, you can't talk about education. In fact, you can't talk about even democracy, because even your freedom to come here, we presuppose that coming here will not be hazardous. So I think the president fully appreciates that, not just appreciating it, he has demonstrated the will to allocate more resources to the armed forces. And that is why one is talking about how do we ensure the National Assembly is planning to have a conference on national security. How do we ensure that the money appropriated coincide with the expectation of the Commander-in-Chief and of the people of Nigeria? But it's not something you can legislate away. So more resources are being provided. In my younger days as a labor man, I used to argue that rather than spend so much money on defense, we should spend more money on education, on healthcare, on infrastructure, etc. But today, having seen the condition in which we found ourselves, we have all revised ourselves, and we are now all advocates of secure the country first so that other things can follow. But to do that, the president has showed the will to give more priority to the armed forces defense expenditure. And that was why he also declared state of emergency, to remind us that we have to do business unusual in order to deal with our security challenges. Unfortunately, you can't decree security into existence nor wish it away overnight. You've heard of some brigadiers, generals in battlefield being killed. So I think we should recognize that sometimes when you have had a disease like cancer, almost crossing stage 2 to stage 3, we're almost approaching stage 4 before President Bola Ahmed Tinubu assumed office. Now, to manage that patient, the kind of surgery you require, like chemotherapy, we show that in the short run, the patient might even become even weaker before he begins to recover. I believe that, and I can tell you, as part of the renewed commitment to deploy new tools and restructure Nigeria's security architecture, the president has been pressurizing the National Assembly to fast-track the creation of state police. He has said we must do everything we can to provide the review of the Nigerian Constitution so that that aspect that put police under No. You know, it's already in secondary to remove police from from exclusive list to concurrent list, so that the state can afford not only to have police, but to equip them with modern weapons. The difference between Amoteku, for example, and the Nigeria police is that by law they cannot carry AK-47. But once the Nigeria police is created in Ondo State, the governor of Ondo State can procure those weapons, same as federal police. And he knows all the cultures of Ondo State. Every traditional ruler here knows his people and working together, because you can't fight a man who is carrying AK-47 and you are carrying day gun as a hunter. But the law as it is, only the Nigeria police can use certain categories of weapon. I think the fact that the president has pressurized, I don't want to say he ordered us, because he can't give the National Assembly command. But he has encouraged us to fast track that process. So the idea was that by yesterday, the Senate would have passed the law to amend that section of the Constitution. Because what we try to do is that we don't have to review all the sections that require a review. We are focusing on this as a matter of emergency, as encouraged by the president. Unfortunately, we did the second reading, but the House of Rep they passed it, and I'm sure when we resume in 2 weeks, it will be passed. And then the next thing is, in my view, if the states have to now bear responsibility to police, then you will have to take a share of the federal money to the states, so that you don't have a policeman order arms and they are not paid as a due. Because that human factor, as a labor man, I understand that the best automated machine cannot produce unless there is a motivated worker pressing the button. So I think we will take a holistic view of that. The second is kidnapping. This is a difficult issue, you know, insecurity and all that. But sometimes, cautiously or uncautiously, anyone who is paying ransom to secure release of someone kidnapped, you are actually encouraging and funding insecurity. I understand the pain of waking up and found that your loved one has been taken away. Other very dehumanizing conditions. Even worse is the fact that you have heard or seen someone who has been killed by kidnappers. So there are no easy answers, but I'm very sure that the answers cannot include having to pay ransom. And it is worse when a government, whether federal government, local government, or state government, decide to negotiate and pay ransom. Doing that is to transfer resources to criminals and by implication legitimize the crime. Because for negotiation to take place, you must recognize the existence of the other party. As a union man, we don't negotiate except with an employer that exists. An employer don't negotiate except where unions have been formed. So if you negotiate with kidnappers or terrorists, it means you recognize them as an entity that are worthy of your time to discuss. You've heard what happened in some part of the country where some elders were alleged to have gone to the bush to negotiate, and in the end they ended up being kidnapped. But the question that raises is, if the elders knew where these bad guys are, how come the armed forces don't know where they are? And if they know where they are, why would they bomb them from the air or root them up from the ground? So these are things that we can deepen further conversation, you know, as to how we deal with it. But pay kidnapping is institutionalizing insecurity and kidnapping in our body politics. I agree entirely with the young man who talked about the need to introduce history. I don't know whoever came up with that mad idea that history should not be taught in our schools. If you don't know your past, How can you even appreciate your present? Not to talk of try to figure out where you are going. Even in statistics, I know that it is looking at the numbers in the past that you extrapolate for the future. So it's a major disservice to the Nigerian people, and in particular to young people, for history not to be taught in our schools, primary schools, secondary schools, etc. I promise you, on my honor, I will raise it with my colleagues in the Senate and insist, and I know the president will buy into it, because even the reform he's doing now, by the time they begin to manifest that the country is on a sound economic footing, people will forget this period. And they will be celebrating the person who is in the office at the time all of these reforms will have begin to manifest and people begin to see the benefit. So there's no question. I'm totally in agreement with you, and I promise you we will fight it on the floor of the Senate, and I'm sure the president will readily agree to it. I don't want to mention the name of the president who abolished it, because you should know. Because I have mentioned his name too many times, so let people not think I have any issue with him. The other one is about women. I agree entirely. The world we live in is a knowledge-driven world. It's about the brain, not the brawn anymore. And so there is virtually nothing any man can do that women cannot do. And in fact, it has been well documented that women, by their very nature, have eyes for details. And they can be more meticulous in obeying rules and regulations. I have two lovely daughters who are now my small momsy, because I still have my mother. But when they talk to me, sometimes I'm humbled. And when they do exam, if you look at what is going on in our university system now, for example, in the field of medicine, 40 years ago, to read medicine was seen as something that is for men, for the boys. And the girls are to study nursing. Today, in many universities, majority of the students reading medicine are women, they are girls. A minority are boys. So if we sustain this approach of giving education to the girl child, because it starts from parents. If you don't send your girl child to school, quality school, taught by a teacher that is well paid and competent to teach, that is the foundation for equality. I was talking to young people a few days back, last week, and I said, if your wife is a doctor, and you have BSc in political science or public administration, you graduate the same time. Even with the low pay for medical doctors in Nigeria, the young doctor will be earning about 300 and something thousand, while his husband, who read public admin, may be earning less than 200,000 or about 200,000. So who will be the boss at home? So these things will change naturally once we sustain the campaign for girl child education and expose the girls to read those subjects that in the past were reserved for men. The same thing, you will see more women reading engineering, computer science, and they are excelling in those fields. So wearing trousers is no longer going to be the defining point. In any case, the trousers fit women much more than men. I haven't seen, don't ask me how I know. So, in summary, thank you for all your questions. I think they are all enriching. And, Your Excellency, I cannot thank you enough for this very rare privilege of inviting a worker to talk to big men and even His Highness, my father, Olu Falai. God bless you. Kabiesi.
Thank you so much, our guest speaker.
Please, can we please give him a standing ovation, please? A standing ovation for Adam Oshiomole. Thank Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Our guest speaker, distinguished Senator Adams Oshiomhole, CON. We appreciate you, sir. God bless you. Let me appreciate all the members of the Ondo State for Ashiwaju, ably led by our dear Governor, His Excellency Dr. Loki Orimisa Ayedatiwa, the Renewed Hope Ambassadors. I greet you. DTF, I greet everyone. Thank you so much for coming. Noge, you are here in your large number. Up Noge! God bless you, led by Comrade Frederick Akinilola. We appreciate everyone. Award-winning Ondo State Cultural Troupe, can we have you for just 3 minutes? Award-winning Ondo State Cultural Troupe, 3 minutes.
Àwárẹ̀ ọmọjà méjì alóore o àwárẹ̀ ọmọjà méjì ọmọjà yé wà búlẹ̀búlẹ̀ dògbòrì máma bá wá mi wá o àwárẹ̀ o àwárẹ̀ ọmọjà méjì alóore o àwárẹ̀ ọmọjà méje ọmọjà yé wà búlẹ̀búlẹ̀ dògbòrì máma bá wá mi wá o àwárẹ̀ o. Dògbòrì máma bá wá mi wá o àwárẹ̀ ká o. Dògbòrì máma bá wá mi wá o àwárẹ̀ o. Dògbòrì máma bá wá mi wá o àwárẹ̀ ká o. Dògbòrì máma bá wá mi wá o àwárẹ̀ o. Olóbèlè mọ́bèlè olóbèlè mọ́bèlè agbamiláwa olóbèlè mọ́bèlè. Onílò gbèlò alágògò gbàgògò agbamiláwa olóbèlè mọ́bèlè. Èdòní ṣẹ̀kẹ̀rẹ̀ gbé ṣẹ̀kẹ̀rẹ̀ dálágògò gbàgògò agbamiláwa olóbèlè mọ́bèlè. Agbamiláwa yìí lólóbèlè mọ́bèlè. Agbamiláwa olóbèlè mọ́bèlè. Àti gbọ́kọ̀ wa nàyẹ́ mú wa yí ká wà o. Dàmámà gbọ́kọ̀ ó gbórí wa o. Àlóore o. Àti gbọ́kọ̀ wa kìlọ́kìdù ká wà o. Dàmámà gbọ́kọ̀ ó gbórí wa o. Àti gbọ́kọ̀ wa kìlọ́kìdù ká wà o. Dàmámà gbọ́kọ̀ ó gbórí wa o. Àlóore o. Àti gbọ́kọ̀ wa kìlọ́kìdù ká wà o. Dàmámà gbọ́kọ̀ ó gbórí wa o. Àti gbọ́kọ̀ wa kìlọ́kìdù ká wà o. Dàmámà gbọ́kọ̀ ó gbórí wa o. Àlóore o. Àgbọ́kọ̀ wa kìlọ́kìdù ká wà o. Dàmámà gbọ́kọ̀ ó gbórí wa. Àbá pòpó mi náà mi yóò èyí pòpó mi náà mi yẹ̀rẹ̀ ìpàlàpàlà bòmú dẹ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀jẹ̀ gbé àwòrán sàṣà kò rò.
Thank you.
Bàbá pòpó mi náà mi yóò èyí pòpó mi náà mi yẹ̀rẹ̀ ìpàlàpàlà bòmú dẹ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀jẹ̀ gbé àwòrán sàṣà kò rò.
Thank you. Award-winning Ondo State Cultural Troupe, we appreciate you. Our time is fast spent.
Omi líla jẹ́ omi o, epo níla jẹ́
Thank you. God bless you. We appreciate you. Ẹ jẹ́ ká máa jó padà sí àyè wa. We are not done with this program, please. The hall is becoming rowdy. Please, let's settle down. Let's settle down, please. Let's settle down. Ẹ ṣé o, thank you. Award-winning Ondo State cultural troupe, thank you. God bless you. Thank you, thank you. Please, you can dance back to your seat. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Esho, thank you. Fellow Nigerian citizens, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, may I invite the People's Governor, the Captain of our Ease, my governor, your governor, our governor, the ambassador of the rule of law, His Excellency, Dr. Lucky Orimiso Ayedatiwa, FCA, for his address. Please let's put our hands together, ladies and gentlemen, for His Excellency. Please, the hall is becoming rowdy, please. Please, let's settle down, let's settle down.
Thank you. You may have your seats. Thank you. You may have your seats. We give glory to Almighty God, who is the most excellency himself, for making this day possible for all of us to be here, especially those who traveled from far and wide, and those also who are here coming from nearby locations, from other local governments, for being here safely, alive in health and in strength. We give him all the praise and the glory. And I welcome every one of us to this Democracy Day celebration, the 27th edition. We're happy to be here, and I could see the excitement, especially when the guest speaker was reeling out so much that had been done in the course of the year. So you are all welcome, but permit me to just acknowledge some of our important personalities that have decided to grace this occasion with us. Mr. Deputy Governor, His Excellency Dr. Olaide Olabi Adelami Emenai, I acknowledge your presence. Honorable Speaker on those State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Olamide Oladeji, thank you for making time out. My noble Lord, the Honorable Justice Olusegun Ayedodushola, Chief Judge of Ondo State, thank you for coming. We appreciate you. The judiciary is very, very important in democracy. Very, very. Just as the parliaments too are important. When the guest speaker was talking, he said, if there is no assembly, there is no democracy. I beg to also add, if there is no judiciary, there can never be democracy. The executive, legislative, and the judiciary. And we are all complete in this meeting. So, my Lord Justice Odushola, thank you for being here. Let me acknowledge specially our guest speaker, who was a former Labour leader, two-time former governor of Edo State, party administrator, chairman of our great party at the time, and now a senator representing Edo South, or Edo North Senatorial District on the 10th Assembly, and he's also having in his hand the ticket of the party to still represent the same senatorial district. Distinguished Senator, His Excellency, I don't know which one to even call him. Distinguished Senator, His Excellency, Comrade Adams Aliu Oshiomhole. Oshio Baba. Thank you for making time out to be here. Like play, I mentioned to him, say, you got about da fun Edo, o da fun Ondo now. That is the way he always says it, you know, in his own style. Say got about da fun Edo, o da fun Ondo, that he will be here. Thank you so much. He's supposed to be in his own state celebrating this day, but he has chosen to be here with us. We appreciate your coming. You know, one unique thing about Comrade Adams Oshiomhole, you know, when the compere was reading his citation, maybe a lot of you didn't listen, that he was born in 1952. Do you know how many years now? And he's still living. 74. And he's looking like this. Hey! Maybe he has tapped into the men of the old that will live up to 150. And they will still be producing children. 74, looking like us. You know, that is special grace. God will continue to renew your strength, increase your greatness, and comfort you on every side. The chairman of this occasion, our Baba, the Kabiyesi, His Imperial Majesty, the Olu of Iluabo, Kabiyesi Olu Falaye. We recognize you, sir, and we appreciate your coming. Thank you for taking this responsibility of being the chairman of this occasion. The chairman of our party, Honorable Kolawole Babatunde, acknowledge your presence. The chief of staff, Prince Segun Omojua. The newly mint head of service, Chief Sir Segun Odusoya. Thank you. The chairman, Ondo State Council of Obas, His Imperial Majesty Oba Dr. Ajibade Gbadegesin Ogunoye III, Olowo Ofowo. Thank you, Kabiyesi, for also making time out. Let me acknowledge all members of the State Executive Council that are here. Let me use the Honorable Commissioner for Information and Orientation, Mr. Idowu Ajanaku, as a point of reference to all other commissioners, members of Ondo State House of Assembly. Let me use the Majority Leader, Mr. Oshati, as a point of reference, Honorable Oshati, as a point of reference to all the honorable members of the State Assembly. The local government chairmen, acknowledge your presence, LCDA chairman, all of you in your large number. The chairman of Argon, Dr. Gbenga Donald Fasua, as a point of reference to all of you. Our Kabiyesis, His Royal Majesties, I recognize all of you, the immediate past Traditional Ruler Council of Ondo State, the Deji of Akure, and all other Kabiyesi that are here. Kabiyesi Dolu Baka of Oka, Kabiyesi Omakwetu of Mahin, Kabiyesi Abode of Ikale, Kabiyesi Oluoke of Okegbo. I recognize every one of you. Thank you so much, Kabiyesi, for taking time out to be here. for your patience also, staying through the end with us. Kábíyèsí, ẹni ìlẹ́yìn náà, torí gbogbo ọba ipò ẹ̀yẹ ipò iyì ni fún ọ̀wọ̀ tẹ́ fún wa, àdúpẹ́ o, ẹ ṣé kábíyèsí. All chairmen of boards, parastatals, and agencies, the permanent secretaries and directors, all our party leaders, I recognize every one of you. More importantly, those of you are Nadeco chieftains and who are still pushing for more reforms for our nation. Chief Femi Aluko, former Commissioner for Information, Chief Korede Duile, former Commissioner for Commerce and Industry, Mama Mrs. Animola, I recognize you. Mama Grace, Tonwa Graceful, I recognize you. All head of security agencies that are here, the students, I notice some of you, after receiving your food, you left, but some of you are still standing. God bless you. The press, ẹ̀yin ọlọ́jà mú kí yín o, atajere o, ẹ̀yin ẹ lọ sọ lọ́jà, pé APC ló ní ìjọba, ẹ lọ sọ lọ́jà. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the guest speaker have said a lot, and even the chairman of the occasion made very important remarks. You know, when Kabiyesi was warning us that, Comrade Oshiomhole will not just speak for 1 hour, he was preparing our mind. I look at my time, I found out I has even exceeded 2 hours. He keep concluding. Let me conclude. Let me conclude. That reminds me of someone that told me that a good speaker will conclude about 5 times. So he is a very good speaker. And I'm very, very proud of the stuff that I dished out for us today. It took us down the memory lane and democracy in Nigeria. And I'm also glad with the response that came thereafter, particularly the young man who talked about history. And I was asking the deputy governor that, are you saying there's no history in our school curriculum anyway? He said they've been removed it for long, since OBJ era. And I was like, so what did they replace it with? Do you know? Because I was once a teacher. I was teaching history during my time when I was a teacher. And I'm so glad that the distinguished senator have promised that he will start the conversation on the floor of the Senate and see what will happen from there. We need to tell our stories of who we are, who we were, who we are now, and document also what we envision so that those who can see it can run with it. In other nations, before you can become, for example, British citizens, you will tell the story. It's going to be part of the questions they are going to ask you on your interview day. But for us, we want to throw away our own history. Political history is very, very important, honestly. Not just political history. We read, in our time, we read about a lot of people. The likes of Madame Tinubu, yes, Funmilayo Ransome Kuti. You know, these are women. You know, Margaret Ekpo, the Aba Women Riot, and so on. I'm talking about the women now so that so that you women can be happy, so that you can brace up like those ones. Not the men alone will fight for you, you can fight for yourself. So much has been said. I'm not going to delve into teaching or trying to repeat most of the things that have been said, but I'm just going to make very few remarks. So first and foremost, we are grateful to God for preserving our democracy. sustaining our unity despite all challenges, and granting us yet another opportunity to gather in commemoration of this historic moment in our national life. We do not take for granted the peace, progress, and stability we continue to enjoy, even though we are facing with insecurity in the land. But that is not to say we are not enjoying peace at one time or the other. That does not mean that we have not, enjoyed some progress or experienced some progress and also stability in the country. I'm greatly delighted to welcome you all to this epoch-making occasion, marking the 33rd anniversary of the historic June 12, 1993 presidential election, a landmark in Nigeria's democratic journey and a constant reminder of the people's resolve to justice, equity, and credible leadership. The speaker talked about Muslim ticket at the time. Nobody even thought about it. We all went out because of the personality of the flag bearer of SDP at the time. And we were envisioning the kind of leadership he would provide for the country. So religious was not issue to debate. I especially recognize the chairman of this occasion, His Royal Majesty Oba Olufala CFR, GCON, the Olu of Iluabo, a revered elder statesman and a notable advocate of our democratic values. Sir, we are grateful for your continued wisdom, leadership, and service to our dear state, Ondo State, and to our country at large. I also wish to sincerely appreciate our distinguished guest speaker, His Excellency Senator Comrade Adams Oshiomhole, a former public servant and a labor leader, an ex-governor and a current distinguished senator of the 10th National Assembly. The labor leaders in the House, I acknowledge your presence. Thank you for coming. Sorry I omitted you when I was acknowledging those in attendance. Seeing one of your leaders, you are happy to see him, to also hear him speak. This one not on a Luther ground, but on democracy. Senator Adams, thank you for honoring our invitation and the opportunity to tap from your wealth of democratic experience in the course of delivering this insightful, educative, and thought-provoking lecture. I cannot but appreciate our faithful party members, top government functionaries, traditional and religious leaders, youth and students, NGOs, unions, security agencies, and the good people of Ondo State for synergizing with us in ensuring the success of this year's Democracy Day celebration. Now, the June 12, 1993 presidential elections remains one of the most defining moments in Nigeria's democratic history. It is widely regarded as the freest, fairest, and most credible election ever conducted in our nation, representing the authentic voice and will of Nigerian people. This year's theme, June 12 and beyond, reflecting on progress of democracy and security concerns, is both fitting and timely, especially in the light of current political developments in our nation. As we approach another crucial phase in our democratic journey, including the build-up to the 2027 general elections and security concerns in some parts of the country, it becomes even more important to reflect deeply on how far we have come and the challenges that still lies ahead. Part of the lessons of June 12 as enumerated by the guest speaker that we are celebrating or remembering courage, resilience, consistency, integrity of the leader at the time that we chose, who won the election, who refused to sell his mandate. He refused to betray democracy. And the question is, if he had sold his mandate at the time, what do you think will have been happening to us now? Find an answer by yourself. We must always remind ourselves that democracy is not a destination, but a continuous journey. And we are here, 2026. True democracy is measured not only by elections, but by good governance. It is a system that thrives only when citizens and leaders alike embrace responsibility, active participation, accountability, and unwavering respect for the rule of law. Democracy is sustained not merely by constitutional provisions, but by our collective commitment to upholding its values and principles in everyday governance and civic engagement. And as a nation, we have made significant progress in all of these areas. Democracy can only truly thrive in an atmosphere of peace and security. I'm saying we have made progress, at least freedom of information has, make us to have access or to hear some revelations today that a lot of us do not even know about the happenings, according to the chairman, House Committee on Public Account, if I'm not mistaken, the Civil Senator Adams Oshiomhole, about some missing or funds that cannot be accounted for in NNPC. Before, you cannot say things like that. At least we have made progress. Now, there's something I wanted to add. When he said, I just took note of that. When it was said that the monies were deposited in some banks, and those banks have since collapsed. And as if somebody who has a bit of knowledge in financial sector, I also know that there's something they call NDIC, Nigeria Deposit Insurance Company, that insures all deposits. Maybe we should ask, comrades, sir, maybe we should ask NDIC if they cannot provide the banks and the and the owners of the banks. Maybe we should go to NDIC that you insure deposits of customers, including governments. Come and repay us this money that we find that has lost. And they said it was deposited in some banks. That is just a thought on my own side. Now, where insecurities prevails, democratic values are weakened. Civic participation discouraged, and public trust in governance is eroded. That means democracy cannot continue to progress in the face of insecurity. Insecurity, therefore, poses a threat, a direct threat to the consolidation and sustenance of democracy itself. The administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, continues to show strong commitment to addressing insecurity in Nigeria under the Renewed Hope agenda. I think the question was asked in this direction, that with the kind of insecurity we are facing, in the last few years, what is it that the government will do to further curb this menace? And some kind of answers also were provided by the guest speaker. Now, in responding to emerging security challenges across different parts of the country, the federal government does not relent in strengthening coordination within the security leadership structure through the reorganization and regular engagement of the service chiefs and heads of key security agencies under the National Security Council, with the aim of improving cooperation, intelligence sharing, and overall operational effectiveness. The President has also repeatedly expressed support for decentralized policing and community-based security to improve grassroots security and intelligence gathering across communities. For us in Ondo State, this administration under our ease agenda, we will continue to demonstrate commitment to delivering good governance, infrastructural renewal, and people-oriented development across all sectors. Our administration shall remain fully committed to ensuring the safety of lives and properties, because no meaningful development can take place in an atmosphere of insecurity. The welfare of our security personnel shall continue to be a top priority of this government, as we remain fully committed to motivating and supporting those who risk their lives on a daily basis to safeguard our communities. The recent welfare packages approved for our own homegrown security outfits, Amotekun workforce, in the area of their enrollment into the pension contributory scheme and the introduction of medical allowance benefit is part of our efforts in this direction. Recently, 500 additional personnel were recruited into the Amotekun Corps. We remain firmly committed to strengthening our security architecture by ensuring that no gap is left uncovered, so as to guarantee lasting peace and safety for our people. For us, by the time the bill on state police will be ascended by Mr. President, by the time National Assembly will be done with it, it will be easier for us to transit, because we already have the structure. We have the structure, we have the people. All that is left is for that approval for them to be able to use sophisticated weapons, in combating bandits in our system. While we acknowledge the painful experiences of recent security incidents in some parts of the country, including cases of abduction and attacks on innocent citizens, especially students and vulnerable communities, our thoughts and prayers are with the victims and their families. This unfortunate incident reminds us of the urgency of collective responsibility and sustained action against terrorism. We must all unite to fight terrorism. In conclusion, as we reflect on the legacy of June 12th, I strongly encourage all eligible citizens to actively participate in the 2027 general elections. Come out peacefully to exercise your franchise without fear, intimidation, and violence. The continuous voters registration exercise is ongoing all across the country. So, for those of us in Ondo State, let us encourage our people to go all out in their various wards and units to register. It's only when you register that you can vote. Elections remain the foundation of democracy, and every vote must count in shaping the future of our nation. Citizens must continue to uphold the values of peaceful participation and respect for the democratic process. We will not relent in our efforts to protect lives, strengthen governance, and sustain development across all sectors. It is my belief that with our continued cooperation and determination, we shall overcome all socio-economic and security challenges confronting us as a country. I want to thank all of you for coming. Thank you for listening. I wish you all journey mercies to your different destinations. God bless Ondo State, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
God bless you as well, Your Excellency. You wait, sir, to do the presentation of the plaque for the chairman of today's occasion, as well as our guest lecturer. May I invite the chairman of today's occasion, in person of our own dear elder statesman, His Royal Majesty, Oba Samuel Olufalai, CFR GCON.
Kabisi, in appreciation of Your Royal Majesty, Oba Olufalai, of your profound contribution to democratic development in Nigeria, and as chairman of the year 2026.
Please, we are not done with this program.
As the chairman of the year 2026 June 12 Democracy Day celebration, Ondo State government present this to you. Thank you so much.
I would also like to invite our guest speaker, in person of distinguished Senator Adams Oshiomhole, CON. Please, we are not done with this program. Please, let's settle down.
Your Excellency, distinguished Senator Adams Oshiomhole, in appreciation of Your Excellency Senator Adams Oshiomhole, CON, and in recognition of your profound contribution to democratic development in Nigeria, and also as a guest speaker on this occasion of year 2026 June 12 Democracy Day celebration here in Ondo State, we present to you this award.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. We appreciate you, sir. Sir, can we have the vote of thanks briefly, sir?
Your Excellency, sir, the Governor of Ondo State, Dr. Lucky Orimisan Ayedatiwa, FCA, sir, because of our time, kindly permit me to rest on the already established protocol. You will all agree with me that we have cause to give glory to God Almighty for allowing us to see this day, particularly for granting all of us journey mercies from our various homes to this place. And we are equally trusting Him that by the time we will be returning, that we will get back to our various destinations in peace. Your Excellency, sir, it is indeed a thing of joy to express the appreciation of the good people of Ondo State to your good self for the good leadership that you have been providing for us. and particularly for your good guidance towards the success of today's program. Sir, kindly permit me to specially thank His Royal Majesty, the chairman of today's occasion, for creating time to chairman this important occasion. When the invitation letter personally signed by Your Excellency and delivered by my good self got to Baba, he was so excited, and without wasting time, he gladly accepted to be part of this program. And thank God that he's here, and he actually did well to chairman this occasion. And again, we have to specially thank our guest lecturer for the beautiful talk that he did. In fact, for some days, we were expecting that he will send us a written note. But despite the fact that he didn't come with any paper, the speech which he delivered extempo, I think, was a very beautiful and very educative. And I think our guest lecturer deserves once again a round of applause. Mr. Governor, sir, because of our time, I will not mention names again. On behalf of the governor of Ondo State and the good people of Ondo State, we want to say a big thank you to each and every one of us for partaking at this very important occasion. And it is my prayer that by the time we'll be returning home, we'll get back to our destination in peace and not in pieces, in Jesus' name. Once again, I say thank you, and thank you.
Thank you to the Permanent Secretary, Department of Economy and Politica, Chief Dele Akinagbe. We appreciate you, sir. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, as we close today's public lecture on June 12 and beyond, reflecting on the progress and democracy and security concerns. Let's take one last thought back with us. June 12 taught us one thing: democracy is not free. It was paid with courage, with votes and with voices that refused to be silent. Today we listened, we questioned, and we learned. But Democracy Day is not just about remembering history, it's about taking responsibility for tomorrow. The lecture ends, but your roles as citizens continues outside this hall. Talk to your neighbors, vote wisely, hold leaders accountable, build your community. Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you for your time, your energy, and your patriotism. I wish everyone safe journey back to our various destinations. Happy Democracy Day, Ondo State. Happy Democracy Day, Nigeria. We close this meeting in the name of God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. Shall we rise up as we take the anthems?
Welcome to IDP.
be a symbol that truth and justice reign. In peace or battle honored, and this we count as gain. To hang unto our children a banner without stain. O God of all creation, grant this our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed, and so with peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed.
May Ondo State be blessed in Jesus' name. His Excellencies and members of the top table, we have a group photograph together.
Kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin olólùfẹ́ wa wípé a kú ètò tí ọdún Jésù Ọlọ́run adúpẹ́ fún ti ètò ti ọjọ́ òní léyìí tí ó lọ ní ìrọwọ́rẹsẹ̀ láti iléeṣẹ́ tẹlifíṣàn tó gbàràwọ̀ OSRC ní gbàgede dóòmù ìyẹn nílùú Àkúrẹ́. èyí náà ni a wà o níbi tí ayẹyẹ èyí tí ṣe ti àyájọ́ ìjọba àwarawa June 12 tó ti wáyé lónìí. àwọn gómìnà àti àwọn èèkàn èyí náà ni ó wà o nítorí ìjọba àsìkò wa. adúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ ti darapọ̀ mọ́ wa lórí ètò yìí láti àárọ̀ lágbára Ìdùmarè. ọ̀pọ̀ èyí tí ṣe ayẹyẹ àyájọ́ àwarawa náà èyí ní òṣojú ẹ̀mí wa o. ìpínlẹ̀ Ondo ò ní bàjẹ́ o, orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà kò ní dàrú. ẹ jẹ́ pé kejì mi náà wà níkàlẹ̀ Fọláṣadé Ògìdán.
Wow, what a lovely day to be here, Owadayo. I believe that most of our listeners today, especially those who were not opportuned to know the story behind the June 12, you've heard a lot today, especially from people who were participants of that era, people who fought vigorously, who played one part or the other to be sure that Nigeria returns to democratic rule. Well, happy Democracy Day, Nigeria. You are alive today, play your own part, because history will tell of it tomorrow. My name is Folashade Ogidon. Thank you.